Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is an English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Thursday night at Darul Uloom Kantaria in Bharuch, Gujarat, India. Thursday night after the Taraweeh Salat, Thursday, the 22nd of Ramadan, 1444, corresponding with the English date, 13th of April 2023. Hazrat Wala starts off this Majlis by reciting the ayat of the Quran Majid, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Hazrat Wala is saying, Kasir ta'adad se, in huge scores, people have arrived to come and listen to the talks of Quran and Hadith, and this is a point of great fortune. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to speak much about Sami'na wa ata'na, that we heard and we obeyed. MashaAllah, you people have come to hear. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat to genuinely hear and genuinely obey. Hazrat Maulana Masiullah Khan Sahib had a waz on Isma'u. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to always tell us that you see this dumb person, the one who's dumb, who can't speak. He actually can't speak because he can't actually hear. If he can hear, he would be able to speak. So Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of hakiki sama', genuine listening. Today, this listening, the custom of it has become less, due to which amal has become less in the ummah. My son, Mauli Saeed from Bahrain, he says that deen is common here because people listen. And amongst in the Arab, this year is very rare, and you would hardly find it, due to which also amal is much less. So much so, people would go on to say that many do not even know how to carry out the wudu. Here, we still find that people know how to make the wudu. So if we do not listen, how then would we obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Hazrat Tanvi, Hazrat Gangohi, all these luminaries, they went to listen. They went to Hazrat Haji Imdadullah, who would speak, and they would listen. Hazrat Maulana Qasim Sahib went, and what would they do? They would listen and they would write. So Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of listening. MashaAllah, here there is still a practice of listening. And it is upon listening that the beautiful fruits of obedience are attached or suspended. It is only after listening that you would be able to obey and carry out ita'at, acts of obedience. Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Sahib used to say that go with this intention in every talk and waz, that I'm going to take one point from here and make amal on it. He says that you do not even make the intention, so then how would you actually make amal? And then he would also go on to say, in the year, you would listen to so many lectures. If it is 50 or 100, due to which 50 or 100 things or points of the deen would then come into your life. So because of listening, there would be a relationship between the masses and the ulama. Now when I went to Africa, Padia Sahib was there, and he was saying to me that tell the people to learn Urdu. And he was speaking, this discussion was going on there as well, that if you do not know Urdu, then how would you have ta'alluq with these ulama from the Indo-Pak subcontinent, because they have deen with them, and then how would you then make amal? So this silsila that we have here of the Khanqa, I want to speak on the topics around that specifically. The kitab I have in front of me is Asharatu Qawaid fi Tazkiyatin Nufus. It is one risala from the kitab itself named Dasturu Salikin. The seventh qaida is that of maut. And I said, let me speak about this also because of the demise of Hazrat Maulana Rabi Saheb. You know, in the past also, I was here at this very venue when Hazrat Maulana Ali Mia Saheb passed away, and then on two separate occasions, I spoke on Maulana Ali Mia Saheb, and this year was noted down and it was published as well. Allah Ta'ala make the maghfirat of Hazrat Maulana Rabi Saheb. And he was a person, Saheb Zawq, a person of intellectual enthusiasm, yearning and thirst. Allah Ta'ala keep Nadwa well. That today, we say intishar, confusion comes about. So Allah Ta'ala protect Nadwa and keep it safe. Today we see also that between an imam or a muazzin or just in one masjid, so much of confusion comes about. In institution, confusion comes about. Hazrat Wala thereafter quotes the incident of a great sheikh in Misr, and he realized that there was an argument between two alims, and he said to the people, take me, I want to go and make sulah and reconcile between these two alims. And they said, well, Hazrat, this hour of the night, can't we do it tomorrow or this or that? And he said, no, I have to do it now, because with the passage of time and by tomorrow, this differences or there's some type of ill feelings between the two of them would become then rasikh and mustahkam. It will become established in both of their hearts. Hazrat Wala also quotes the incident that took place between Hazrat Haji Imdadullah and Maulana Rahmatullah Kiranwi. That on one occasion, they were sitting and they were discussing, and Haji Saheb then said to Maulana Rahmatullah Saheb, if you had it your way, then you would demolish the masjids and the khanqas and you would only build madrasas. Now, of course, it was taken severely, due to which time had passed. But on the third day, Maulana Rahmatullah Saheb comes and he says, Haji, make maaf. Now immediately here I want you to understand also that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has prevented us from cutting off ties for more than 3 days also, for the same reason, that then this type of difference would then become rasikh and mustahkam. It would become anchored in the hearts of the two parties. So Haji Saheb then goes on to say, Maulana Rahmatullah, tu jeet gaye. You see, you won. You were the better of the two. And this year is because you were an alim and you understood this year. Now what was Haji Saheb doing? He praised Maulana Rahmatullah Saheb. When I went to Darul Uloom, Deoband, then I spoke on this year, and the ulama from both the Darul Ulooms gathered, and I spoke about this year, and I gave an incident also that one person cut off ties and stopped speaking to the next person. And what was his reason? He says that he doesn't keep well with my sheikh. Apne sheikh se acha nahi rakhte. So then the person who was there immediately said, Batao, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam se to acha rakhte hai? Does he keep well with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So he immediately answered, he said, yes. At that time, don't dear. He reprimanded him, he scolded him, and he said, isn't this enough for you to strike up the relationship with this person? That his ta'alluq is right with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Immediately he asked for forgiveness. He understood and he acknowledged his weakness and his flaw, and he attributed that to his own nafs, rather just to something which is petty, which we would call lafzi, and due to which what comes about? Su'ezan, this entertaining of wrong or negative thoughts of the next person. And Hazrat Imam Ghazali rahimahullah has even written about this here, about the husn tartib in the Quran. When that happens, the next step is that a person starts spying. And then when he spies, and then he finds out that that is actually the reality, then what does he do? He finds that to be some type of a weapon or an allowance for him now to make ghibat. So when I went to Nadwa also, I spoke about this year about Su'ezan and Husnezan as well. Maulana Rabi Saheb became absolutely happy. So anyway, the end result is that of ghibat, and ghibat is haram. But it is these destructive things that Allah Ta'ala should protect us from, which every home has been set alight and is on fire because of these things today, and are becoming destroyed, house by house, and institution after institution, masjid after masjid. Nevertheless, Maulana Rabi Saheb listened very attentively. I even spoke about al-hubbu asasi, that love is my foundation. So in this time and age, Hazrat Wala is saying, every place is filled now with backbiting. But what are we speaking about backbiting? We have come here for suluk. And due to this backbiting, it will be bad suluk. Our character will be completely gone off then. So he went on to say, who is your sheikh then? Who is your sheikh in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? There and then, the jagra then came to an end. Quloob ko khali karna. Keep this heart clean. Keep it clear. Keep it pure. Ikhla'ul khawatir. From all this type of negative thoughts, etc. According to how empty you keep it, that's how much the ulum and this knowledge will pour into it. Otherwise, tell me, how will this nur enter and penetrate into the heart? Have fikr for the islah and the reformation of the heart. For small things. It becomes and turns into mountains. On one occasion, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a small scratch or just a small knock he got or hurt, due to which over and over again he began reciting, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Now where could Hazrat Aisha be silent? She asked, or rather she marked, O Nabi of Allah, for a small thing like this, you're reading Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un over and over again. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to her, O Aisha, you are unaware of what the end result of this could be. Which today we can say, the end result can be something like amputation, or something like a cancer. So in the Khanqa, we first speak about takhliya, to rid yourself and empty yourself of all of this here. And then it is adorning and decorating ourselves with the sifat, which we say tahliya. Same, look at the fields and the orchards. First you take out the bricks and the stones, and you clear up all the weeds and this and then. And after that, it is where you carefully plant those seeds. So, dil ko ma siwa se khali karna. Empty the heart from everything else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this destruction comes about. Okay, I'm missing something. So, kam ra'ayna shuyukhan saqatu. How many of the shuyukh we have seen them falling from their positions? This is the ibarat in the kitab. And all of this was because of what? Badgumani. Su'ezan. This entertaining of negative thoughts regarding the next person. And many of them got caught in the web of karamat, where they came there and they thought that that is everything, due to which they lost everything there at that point. Andari ra mi kharash o mi tarash ta dame akhir dame farig mabash. In this path there is trials, tribulations and difficulties that a person has to undergo, but at no given point should you leave your nafs unattended. So this is the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and destruction comes by a person making false claims that I have done this and I have achieved this and I have reached so far, etc. Nevertheless, Allah ta'ala, this is the path of Allah, and Allah make it easy for us. Make the dua, Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-yusr wal mu'afat fi dunya wal akhirah. So if Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam made this dua, then who are we? Hazrat Maulana Abdul Hayy Farangi Mahalli has went on to discuss and write that there was no wali and there was no Nabi except that they asked for the dua of afiyat. So humble yourself and lower yourself for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is then that you would achieve something. Jisne mitaya apna naam o nishan, haft aqleem ka bana sultan. The person who humbled himself, lowered himself, erased all his traces and his effects. He wanted to be hidden. Then he became, such a person then became the king of the world. He became so popular. मैं अपना नाम और निशा मिटा बैठा, शोहरा उड़ा दिया मेरा किसने. I hid myself completely and sat down. I wonder who has let loose this fame of mine. Bars sirat mustaqim kase gumranest. On the sirat mustaqim, the individual will never go astray so long as he is on sirat mustaqim. And then after that, according to the capacity and a capability of a person, he would then make progress. Hazrat Shah Muhibbullah Alahbadi, from the side of Jahangir or one of the other people, he was offered a great post in the country and a government-wise. But what was it? It was that calling from the unseen, that listen, you have not been created for this, not for wizarat, rather for wilayat. And there's a great difference between the two. There was a buzruk and he was passing the palace of the king when he sees the gates closed against the norm, and he asked the soldiers and those working in the court there, what's happening? The gates are closed today. And they said, you know what? The bird of the king has escaped. So at that time, what a sigh. He said, Ya Allah, you have given hukumat and rule and wealth to such foolish people. And he even went on to say this here, and this banda here, referring to himself, I don't even have shoes on my feet. At that time, he was inspired, rather he was told, say, if you are unhappy, we can make an exchange. We can give you their wealth and this wilayat and this dawlat that you have in your heart, we can give it to them. Immediately, he falls to the ground in sajda saying, Oh Allah, please don't ever do that. Rather, leave me with my wilayat and leave them with their wealth. So, this deen and staying established on the deen, this is something great. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-yusr wal mu'afat fi dunya wal akhirah. Oh Allah, we ask you For ease, we ask you for ease. Another dua, Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-afiyah wa dawam al-afiyah wa shukra ala al-afiyah. That, oh Allah, we ask you for afiyat and perpetual afiyat. When Maulana Abdul Halim came then and he heard these du'as from us, even though he spent time at Hazrat Tanvi, he said, oh, these are such du'as that it is even for us. We must learn these du'as. So, Hazrat Maulana Habibur Rahman used to say, we say suluk. He used to go on and say suluk and tasleek. So no person has reached Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by being proud and arrogant. Hazrat Maulana Rabi Saheb बहुत मानते थे. He was very fond of me, and rather in this last meeting, himself and Maulana Sayyid Rahman, both of them in front of all, said, no, from now we have to confirm this year that every time you come, we have to call you for Majlis and for giving your talks here. So I was saying there that when there is love, then there would be no quarrels and things like this here. You see, Medina was Al-Madinatul Munawwara. It's that city which was illuminated bi anwari Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bombay, this big city, is so well lit. And similarly London. But does anybody say Munawwara for these two places? Rather, Medina was Munawwara, even though there was no lantern or lamp lit at that time there. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to say about Tana Bhawan that its one brick was illuminated with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nevertheless, Hazrat Maulana Rabi Sahib had a lot of ta'alluq, and Allah ta'ala look after and protect and see to nadwa. Ulama are leaving, utte ja rahe, one after the other, and actually ilm, this is how ilm is snatched away, because the ulama are taken one by one. In fact, just a few years ago, some years ago, I had this dream about ulama being taken away, 3 alims, and one of them was Maulana Rabi Saheb. He was a very intelligent person and absolutely humble in his food, in his clothing, absolutely simple. Allah Ta'ala make hifazat, protect and look after nadwa. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let it continue running with its usul and in the proper way that it was running up till now. Nevertheless, I am going to be here for a few days, and bit by bit, on different occasions, we will carry on speaking about these topics. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib took out from the kitab and he said, go and show this ibarat. Rather, he read it out to the ulama, that how important this ilm mukashafa is, what we are presently speaking about, the ilm batin. And if not, the least you could do is acknowledge the holders who have this, or the bearers who have this type of ilm. Allah Ta'ala make us all successful in our suluk and tasleek. The error and the time is that of fitna. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min al-fitan ma dhahara minha wa ma batan wa min yawmi as-su' wa min laylati as-su' wa min sa'ati as-su' wa min sahibi as-su'. Allah Ta'ala protect us from all these trials, tribulations, fitnas that are coming one after the other. The ummah is going in the direction of destruction. Allah entrench the love of His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our hearts, and let us have firm ta'alluq with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.